known for many things. Hibbing is known to many as the home of the domestic American iron ore mining operation that supports our massive steel industry in this country, which is very important. Hibbing is the home of the Greyhound Bus Museum. Not everyone knows that the Greyhound Bus Company began in Hibbing and became the mighty transportation giant of the country, even though the buses don't come to Hibbing anymore. We don't like to talk about that. But maybe I get the feeling that most of you are here for a different reason.
I felt this was the place to be at this time of year.
Something we've been looking forward to for a long time. And
I was always a big fan of him.
Most of you are here because in the 1950s, graduating in 1959, a young man named Robert Zimmerman graduated from Hibbing High School, having grown up here, and went on to become some guy named Bob Dylan.
Oh, they love him.
I drove 1,500 miles, almost exactly 1,500 miles, to make a pilgrimage to Dylan's hometown for Dylan Days.
You know, kind of become a little obsessed, you know, just kind of like, you know.
Just a little.
Has anyone here in town heard someone say Bobby Dylan? They still do that sometimes. It does happen. But locally, he's Bob Zimmerman. He's Avon Beatty's kid, Bobby Zimmerman. And the folks here in Hibbing are welcoming all of you to celebrate the impact this guy from Hibbing had.
It seems like he invented a lot of the styles that we use.
And he's explored so many different genres, which makes his music endlessly fascinating.
I think this is a good thing to honor him. I think it's all right.
Don't think twice, it's all right.
And we were remarking on the fact that a world-class poet, musician, composer came from here.
Well, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. If you don't know by now.
It's so easy to say, oh, Bob Dylan, isn't it weird that he came from Hibbing? You know, that's just weird.
No, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why. It don't matter anyhow.
But everybody has to come from somewhere. But since that time, we've wondered about the genesis of his songs and the effect of Hibbing. But part of his move towards who he is was reforming himself when he left Hibbing, but certainly the influences are here.
Hibbing was kind of a melting pot because of the Iron Range. There was work up here, so we had a lot of different ethnic groups up here. People were very strong, especially our parents and grandparents, on being good Americans, good citizens. They really appreciated the fact that this country had taken them in.
These are the iron mines, really in the early times. It was a very rich ore area, and so the mines from the East Coast came this way and figured that out. As the mining went along, they realized that underneath this town they created were really the rich veins of ore. And we had a mayor called Vic Power, and he was a very smart mayor. He said, if you're going to move this town, you should make it worthwhile for the community to move. If you would like to make money underneath the earth of these homes, then wherever the town is going to be relocated should have stellar things like the Android Hotel and the beautiful high school. And that's a picture of North Hibbing before it moved. 4th of July parade, the dirt streets are cool. We have very rich roots in history, and the town did move, yes it did.
I think one thing about Hibbing is all this stuff that we know about Hibbing, it's easy to romanticize it to be about Bob. It's not anything to do with Bob on the one hand. I mean, there's just amazing things about this town in general. But all those things are things Bob would have known about growing up, and you can see the influence. The fact that the town's on the edge of this giant hole, it's on the edge of an abyss. And the fact that the town moved, and Dylan songs are so much about traveling and going down the highway. And the fact that Greyhound started in the town, and there's all these romantic associations.
It's bad news that y'all singing the blues. I've been walking around the city, just walking around as I feel Bob Dylan might have when he was a child. And
for music tourism fans, place is very important. Where things happen, it provides context.
The high school is an incredible place.
Mining built that school back in the heyday. It'll last forever.
Even if Bob hadn't gone to this high school, it's truly a stupendous building.
But these originally were in the Carnegie Library.
Any student, I think, there must be a special feeling going to that school every day. It's on a grand scale. It looks like it should be, you know, a government house or something, and it's a high school in a town of, what, 18,000 people now.
What do you think of this?
You know, when you imagine Bob and you see the stage that Bob performed on, and you think, anyone else, oh, it's his first public performance, it's probably just a poxy little stage somewhere.
If you get stage fright on this stage, we're in trouble.
And this place is Carnegie Hall, like it's huge.
Those are 6-foot wide chandeliers. They're literally irreplaceable.
It's amazing that Bob could play there. Going to the high school, that is a great place to visit. I think that's the highlight of my time in Hibbing.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
I have a theory about this. Rather than be faced on a daily basis with distractions from curious Dylan geeks like myself, I said, okay, let's just make a clean breast of it. We'll put the painting on the garage door. Yes, this is the place. Take a look, and then go away.
It's not like seeing it, I'm suddenly like, oh, now I get him. Now I get what he's all about, because he was born in a house that was blue. You know, this explains everything about Bob. This is the missing piece in the puzzle. That's not true. But at the same time, you don't walk around and think, how could Bob come from a place like this? He fits in here. He really does.
The years that he lived here from 6 years old to 18, they'll always be in him. And his music reflects it. It's amazing, the cultural awareness of his words to where we live here. Our marquee has a girl from the North Country on it. And Echo Star Hellstrom is her name, and she was Bob's girlfriend for about a year and a half or 2 years in high school. And we like to think of her as the muse for Bob.
His sort of heartbreak, you know, Girl from the North Country, which I played, It Ain't Me, Babe, Boots, a Spanish Leather, a bunch of these love songs, these are broken love songs. He wrote about some of the same girls.
She was like Bob and most of his friends, very artistic and creative, and would think outside the box of things that they were exposed to. They weren't sports jocks, they were artists as young as they were.
You know, they used to just roam the streets here together, just listening to records and that other people didn't really like.